humbleness is greatly undervalued in the modern world. In fact, most company executives firmly believe that the way to success is to be conceited, boastful, and even rude. However, this viewpoint is hugely inaccurate because boastful behavior is not helpful. It evokes the envy in others. Everybody in this world loves to be successful, but very few love to see others successful. And in boastfulness, when we repeatedly appraise others of our stellar achievements, we only create jealousy in them. On the other hand, when we take the humble position, we evoke their sympathy and win others over to our side as supporters. Let us learn from Kulashekar and Nambiar. They were two reciters of Ram Katha residing in the same city in South India. Kulashekar was very popular, and whenever his katha would take place in any temple, the whole temple would become jam-packed with eager devotees. Nambiar, on the other hand, was less popular because his katha was less rasmay, and that used to create bitterness in his mind for Kulashekar. One day, in a temple near Nambiar's house, Kulashekhar's katha was happening. A huge crowd used to gather in the evening, and Nambiar's wife also went one day. Now that only increased Nambiar's frustration. He arrived at the temple and saw the crowd listening, spellbound, to the Leelas of Lord Ram recited by Kulashekar. And Nambiar's temperature kept on increasing until he could bear it no longer, and he exclaimed, "You have no right to do the Ram Katha. You have no understanding of Ram. You are ignorant, and the people listening to you are even more ignorant." There was stunned silence. Nambiar's wife got up and left. Nambiar himself started walking back. Later, at home, he began regretting. Through the night, he could not sleep, remorseful about the way he had become annoyed. In the morning at 5 o'clock, he could bear his guilt no longer and decided to go and apologize to Kulashekar. He got out of the house. It was still dark. He collided into someone who was sitting at his doorstep, all cuddled up in a blanket. Nambiar shone the lamp and discovered it was Kulashekar. Kulashekar spoke up, "Sir, I am a sinner. Last evening, I did something that annoyed you, but I could not understand what my fault was. If you will please appraise me of it, I'll have the opportunity to correct myself." Nambiar melted in front of that manifestation of humility and became a lifelong friend of Kulashekar. So the virtue to hold in high regard, to imbibe in ourselves, is humbleness. Even the winner of the gold medal only receives it when he or she on the victory dais bows the head down. I am reading to you a little bit from this commentary, Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God. If we become proud of the good deeds that we have done, the pride soils our heart and undoes the good. That is why it is important to keep an attitude of humility. If I was able to do something good, it was only because God inspired my intellect in the right direction. Left to myself, I would never have been able to do it. To keep such an attitude of humbleness is an important aspect of surrender. And those who have been hugely successful in the world have invariably realized the importance of inner humility. Mahatma Gandhi had a close lifelong associate, Anand Swami. Anand Swami once got into a quarrel with the cook Reva Shankar and he slapped him. Mahatma Gandhi came to know and said, if the cook had been bigger and stronger or more powerful, would you have done it? Go and apologize. And if you don't possess the humbleness to do so, then you are not qualified to stay with me. The greatest scientist in history, Sir Isaac Newton, despite his amazing discoveries, had the humbleness to say at the end of his life, I was like a child playing with pebbles on the seashore, while the whole undiscovered ocean lay in front of me. This quality is so wonderful when found in people. It can easily be identified as an integral part of a glorious character. Rishabdev, before he retired to the forest, divided his kingdom amongst 9 of his sons. Bharat was the eldest and desired to declare his dominion over all. However, in his becoming Chakravarti Samrat, there was one obstacle. His younger brother Bahubali refused. Bahubali's viewpoint was, my father gave this kingdom to me. Who is Bharat to cast an evil eye upon it? So, a war became inevitable between the two brothers. Counselors suggested, why not avoid it and settle the matter through a wrestling match, Malyud, without weapons. The Malyud began. Bharat started losing. As a last recourse, he resorted to injustice. He invoked the Chakra Ratna weapon that he had received from his father and released it upon his brother Bahubali. Bharat had forgotten that the weapon would not work against family members. The Chakra Ratna reached Bahubali and stopped there. Bahubali became annoyed. Because Bharat had taken recourse to injustice, he threw Bharat on the ground, jumped upon his chest, and was about to beat him to death when he suddenly thought, what is this? In the greed to get a kingdom, I have become so disrespectful that I am jumping on top of my elders. Fie to this temptation. I don't want this kingdom. He walked away from there and became a monk. He may have renounced the external kingdom, but he won the inner treasure, the inner spiritual wealth. So, for our own spiritual nourishment and progress on the journey of inner growth, we must definitely make it our priority to keep growing in the virtue of humbleness.